You know how for the last decade, every time we talk about electric motorcycles, there's always a but? Like, it's fast, but the range sucks. Or, the range is okay, but it takes 3 hours to charge. Well, I'm genuinely pumped to tell you they finally did it. Verge motorcycles finally solved the EV motorcycle problem. Well, 99% at least. In this video, we'll talk about that in the missing 1%. Let's do work. Verge motorcycles just changed the game, and that's not hyperbole. At CES 2026, they officially launched the first production motorcycles powered by all solid-state batteries. For the uninitiated, solid-state batteries are technology that was 5 years away for the past 20 years, and now they are finally hitting the asphalt. Today we're breaking down the Verge TS Pro and the TS Ultra. Let's talk about the battery and the weight. Verge partnered with their tech subsidiary Donut Lab to build this 33.3 kilowatt-hour solid-state monster. If you aren't a battery nerd, here's why that's a massive deal. Solid-state swaps out the flammable liquid electrolyte of a standard lithium-ion battery for a solid material. Its cells are rated for 100,000 cycles. A normal EV battery might hit 3,000. This battery will literally outlive the bike, your next bike, and probably you. You can charge this thing 100,000 times. Also, it is weatherproof. It retains 99% of its capacity at negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, so we can all say goodbye to our winter range anxiety. Now, the question we always ask is it a tank? Actually, it's surprisingly manageable. The Verge TS Ultra weighs in at 518 pounds, or exactly 2 pounds lighter than my Ducati Diavolo V4 with gas in it. To further put that into perspective, a standard BMW R1300 GS weighs about 522 pounds. Because Verge puts the battery at the very bottom of the frame and the motor inside the rear rim, the center of gravity is incredibly low, which will help it compete with gas bikes in terms of handling, at least theoretically. More on that later. Let's talk about the biggest roadblocks for EV bikes: range and charging. The range on the TS Ultra is a staggering 370 plus miles in the city, and even if you're pinning it on the highway, which I would be all the time, you're looking at nearly 200 miles of highway range, which is actually around the same or less than a full tank of gas on my Diavolo V4. But the charging, you say? That's the real they finally did it moment. They moved to the NACS port, the Tesla standard, and because solid-state batteries don't overheat like liquid ones, you can add 186 miles of range in just 10 minutes. That's less than a coffee break. By the time you get your gear off and pee out that protein drink from the last stop, comment if you love to get protein drinks from gas stations while riding like I do, your bike is more than charged enough. So 2 barriers of entry solved: long range and fast charging. Great job, Verge. It's also a sci-fi masterpiece. And we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or rather the hole in the wheel. Visually, this thing looks like it was stolen from the set of Star Wars. It looks like a speeder or something. It's got that Scandinavian light design, minimalist, aggressive, and totally alien. The most striking feature is that hollow rear wheel. Since the motor is integrated into the rim, there's no hub, no spokes, and no chain. It gives the bike this impossible floating look that stops traffic wherever you go. I do love this futuristic dystopian look of this bike, which looks straight out of Cyberpunk 2077. Any other Cyberpunk fans out there? Drop a comment. The stance. It's built like a hyper-naked muscle cruiser. It's got an aggressive rake, a long wheelbase, and a solo seat configuration on the Ultra that just screams performance. Form also meets function on this bike. Those fins you see on the rear rim aren't just for show, they are technically cooling fans that dissipate heat from the electromagnetic ring motor. This is a bike where hardcore engineering turns into high-end aesthetics. It's one of the coolest looking bikes I've ever seen, but that is if you like high-tech, futuristic, spaceshipy looking things like I do. I've always been a sucker for technology. And speaking of which, let's talk about Star Matter. This is Verge's proprietary intelligence platform, essentially the brain of this bike. The TS Ultra is equipped with 6 cameras and 2 high-resolution radars, front and back, that gives the bike a 360-degree field of vision. It produces an AI safety net. If a car is flying up behind you too fast, the bike will warn you through the dash, and if you're ever changing lanes and someone is in your blind spot, the dash will automatically show you a live camera feed on that side. Similar to my Tesla Model 3. 2 words: Unreal Engine. The UI is built on Unreal Engine, the same tech used to make high-end video games. It's buttery smooth and of course looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. And because of Star Matter, the bike gets over-the-air updates. Your suspension mapping, motor efficiency, and safety features will literally get better while you sleep. And you need to be sitting down for the performance section. The TS Pro has a mind-blowing 737 pound-feet of torque, 137 horsepower or 102 kilowatts of power, and goes from 0 to 60 in just 3.5 seconds. The higher spec TS Ultra has an astounding 885 pound-feet of torque, 201 horsepower or 150 kilowatts, and does the 0 to 60 dash in only 2.5 seconds. Those are mind-blowing torque numbers. And with zero change, zero belts, and zero gearboxes, there is no power loss between the motor and the road. You twist that throttle and you are gone. And we all know that's the main draw to a bike like this: insane torque. Now, in all candor, what I've heard is it doesn't quite yet handle as well as a gas-powered bike, but given this is a super naked / muscle cruiser bike, that might not be a fair assumption. I'm hoping to ride and review this soon and let you know how it feels. And that leaves only one thing this bike can't do: this. Look, I know some people, like me, will always want the sound of V-twin or an inline-4 with a gorgeous aftermarket exhaust. I get it. But with 370 miles of range, 10-minute charging, and 885 pound-feet of torque, the excuses for not going electric are officially running out. Ultimately, I'd love to have this as a primary or secondary bike, with my other bike having a nice loud exhaust note so I can still get my fix. So what's the damage? The TS Pro starts at $29,900, and given the tech and R&D costs involved, that's not a bad price. If you want that massive 370 mile range with the larger solid state pack, that bumps up the price to $35K. And if you want to go all the way up to that flagship, the TS Ultra with 201 horsepower in the full Star Matter Vision package, you're looking at just under $45,000, which is going to be out of reach for most people. But if you can afford it, 885 pound-feet of torque. Wow. These bleeding edge EV motorcycles are just hitting the streets right now in Q1 2026, and I can't wait to ride one. What do you guys think? Is the safety of Star Matter Vision and 370 miles range enough to make you ditch the gas tank? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and always remember the motto: bark less, wag more, and always be kinder than necessary. I'll see you in the next one.